Okay, so I messed with my camera and now I'm not sure when it will and won't focus. So I'm not gonna move at all. Today I'm filming a wedding Q&A and it's kind of about my wedding and being proposed to and marriage and stuff like that. And so I've got a long list of questions. So I'm gonna kind of shorten it down a little bit. I might group them together a little bit. I probably won't answer all of them. Look how cute my new phone case is. Okay, question number 1. What birth control contraceptive are you using? Let's just dive right into it, shall we? I don't really want to answer this question because what I found is that everyone is really opinionated and birth control affects everyone really, really differently, which makes sense. We're all like chemically different. So I don't really want to tell you which one is good for me because it's probably not good for you. What's one thing you wish you would have done differently about your wedding? Well, I guess I'll give a little bit of a backstory. So we live in Utah and our wedding was in San Diego because that's where I'm from. And so it was really hard to plan a wedding out of state, but I think the way I did it was really awesome. I had a venue basically do everything for me. They did my reception and my cake and my they offered to do my photography, but I found a friend who did it. They did my DJ, they did food, they did invitations, and so that was super helpful. One thing that I wish I would have done differently though, if I had the time, pay them a little bit less so that I could do a little bit more, do a little bit of my own creative style on it. Like their invitations were okay, but they weren't exactly what I envisioned, and their DJ was terrible. Absolutely terrible. What was your favorite part of the wedding day? We, Gage and I answered this in our Q&A together, but I think my favorite part was going through the temple together. We got married in the San Diego LDS temple down in La Jolla, and that was such an amazing experience. It was really great. Did you ever get cold feet? I hear a lot of people get scared because being sealed, which is getting married in the temple, is a really hard concept to grasp. How do you know it was the right time or he was the right one? Okay, that's a loaded question. I didn't get cold feet, and I think a big reason for that was 1, I really liked him, and 2, we had been dating for a long time, so we both had plenty of time to think about it and to consider it and pray about it. So I did not get cold feet. How did you know it was the right time or he was the right one? We both knew that we wanted to get married. Timing wise, ideally we would have liked to wait a few more months to get married, but my brother, who's 4 years younger than me, Ryan, was trying to go on his church mission. He wanted to go really soon, but he also wanted to be at my wedding, so we had to kind of compromise there. Where did you go on your honeymoon and what was that like? We went on a cruise to the West Indies. So that's St. Lucia, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, Barbados, Antigua. I think that's all of them. And it was really fun. It was kind of a long time for me to be on a ship. I got a little seasick towards the end, but it was really fun. How much did you spend on your wedding? What was your budget? Okay, I got so many budget questions and I'm gonna disappoint you with my answer here. I didn't have a set budget. And that's not because I was super spendy. I just knew my limits. Like I knew I did not want to spend over like $2,000 on a dress or send out this many invitations or have this many people there. So I knew what I wanted. I knew what was appropriate for myself and my family and our income prior to. Like I mentioned before, my venue for my reception did so much for us that of course it was a chunk of money, but considering that they handled my invitations and my food and my DJ, I don't know, I can't really divide it. So the budget question, I'm so sorry to like all 20 of you who asked about budgeting. I can't really give you a good answer. Is there anything you regret not having or regret spending money on? I do wish that that's a good question. There's nothing that I regret spending money on. Something that I regret not having though is like having my bridesmaids there for a longer amount of time, because we were all over the US basically. And so we came together pretty much the day before, which was fine. We all went to dinner together and we stayed the night together, but I do wish that we had more time to kind of figure it out and all hang out together, because it was such a fun group. But they're all my best friends. I see them all the time anyway. How old were you? 23. I was 23. I have to like think about it. I got married 6 months ago. Is there anything you did that you look back on and realize, wow, I did not need to spend money on that? Another budgeting question, oh my gosh. Or something you look back and wish I should have done that. I should have taken more pictures the morning of. I was so stressed out because I didn't wake up soon enough. I woke up with like just the amount of time, but not enough time to like take a bunch of pictures with my bridesmaids and relax and have a good morning. So that was a big thing. I wish I would have done that. Did you have a wedding planner? No, but with my reception venue that I mentioned, they had a day of planner that I was able to use, which was really nice. And so the day before the wedding, I went and dropped everything off, all of our decor, and I had a picture of a layout of how I wanted everything to look, and she made it happen. How long had you and Gage been dating before you got engaged, and how long were you engaged before getting married? We dated for just over 2 years. Yeah, before we got engaged, and then we were engaged for 7 months before we got married. Did you know when you were going to be proposed to? No, I didn't. I was completely surprised. I knew we had been talking about getting engaged, and pretty seriously for a while, but I had no idea that he had even been ring shopping, or that he had called my mom and my brother for permission. I had zero idea, and it was a huge surprise. When we were driving to the location in which we were getting engaged, I kind of had the idea, and I was like, no way. Like, there's no way he had time to go ring shopping or whatever. But then he proposed, and I was like, oh, I'm wrong. If there is one thing you could change about your wedding, what would it be? The DJ. He was really bad. Okay, how did you know that he was the right one? I don't really know how to answer that, I guess. We really liked being together, and we were together for a good amount of time, and in those like 2.5 years that we were dating, we went through a lot together. We saw so many different sides of each other, not like super negative, not that it was like anger or whatever, but we saw each other, you know, going through really hard things without divulging too much information. And we came through it, and we worked really well together through those really hard times. And so I think that was a big factor in that, just seeing how well we work together. We have the same sense of humor, and we have so much fun together, and he just gets along so well with my family, and I do with his. It just happened so much easier than any of my past relationships. Oh my gosh, there's so many budget questions. And this is my last question. If you could give any advice for an upcoming bride the month of her wedding, what would it be? Don't stress out too much. Give yourself enough time the day of, and make a Google Doc. All of my bridesmaids and my mom are gonna laugh at me so hard for talking about my Google Doc. I think I can actually show it to you. Probably more than a month before my actual wedding day, I had a Google Doc made. And I shared this Google Doc with all of my bridesmaids, with Gage, with my mother-in-law, with my mom, with everyone, because I wanted them to know what needed to happen a week before my wedding, and then like the day before my wedding and the day of my wedding, and I had a specific timeline of what needed to happen. Essentially, we got married in San Diego and then had to drive up to Fallbrook, which on a Friday, and if you don't know that drive distance, it can be really heavily trafficked, and so we had to get there at a certain amount of time, so everyone had to know who they were driving with and when they were leaving the wedding and when they were getting to the reception and what needed to happen right at the reception venue. It was crazy, but it has been so helpful, because if anyone needs to know something from you, like, hey, what time do you want me at the rehearsal dinner? Do I need to bring anything to your ceremony? You can just say, hey, look at the Google Doc, because it's listed there. And I color coded mine, which was actually really nice. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this very well. So at the very top, it talks about who's going in what car, where everyone was staying, who comes into town what day. And then this was the actual Google Doc for the wedding day. And then I had a to-do list at the bottom. This was so helpful, not for myself and my own anxiety, just, you know, to write it down, but for everyone else's. I did not have to answer any, I'm not gonna say dumb questions, but I didn't have to answer any repetitive questions because it was all just listed here and everyone had access to it. So that's basically all the questions I had for my wedding Q&A. If you have any more other questions, I will leave the link down in the description box where you can write me an anonymous question, or feel free to comment on this video and I'll answer it for you. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know if you like this. Give it a thumbs up. Also, thank you for over 100 subscribers. You guys are the realest. Check out the new URL somewhere. I'm getting sweaty, so that means it's time to go. Okay, bye.